This is where I want it to end up when the zipper is complete. So I've pinned the whole thing closed. What I'm looking to do now is the same thing I did before. We're going to be sewing the zipper tape to the seam allowance to hold it in place, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do a top stitch. Okay? I'm going to go to the iron and I'm just going to press this. I'm going to leave the pins in. Once at the iron, I'm going to just leave the pins in, and I want to give it a little bit of steam just to hold everything in place. You can press the front and the back. When I go back to the machine, I'm going to be pressing just the seam allowance and the zipper tape. Just these two together, and I'm just going to stitch right through the center with a back stitch. That's another stay stitch. And then I'm going to come and I'm going to do my top stitch. Okay, once we're back at the machine, we're going to be running a stay stitch right here, right through the center of the work, and I'm keeping the half foot. You could actually do this whole exercise with the half foot, or at the end, you can put the regular foot back on. So I'm just sewing this through the edge, down. I want to get a little bit past my notch. This is a stay stitch, just holding everything in place. And I'm going to pull my work out, clip it, okay.
So now the top stitch is the last thing. So by adding that stay stitch, technically if I take the pins out, the zipper is already secure.
Everything's already attached. You see that? The zipper is pretty much done. What I'm doing now is I'm just going back and I'm adding the top stitch to the outside of the zipper. Sometimes when you press with the pins, you get these little dents. So if you're more comfortable taking them out, you can take them out and we can repress that. Or instead of using pins, you can use a hand needle. And you can base this into place and press it and do all of your top stitching, and then go ahead and take the basting stitch out. I did an example of a basting stitch on the railroad zipper if you want to look as a reference. This is pretty much not going to move because it's creased, but I do want to go and I want to press this out a little bit. And then I'm going to actually go back and do the top stitch. So let me go back to the iron. You just want to make sure this is as neat as possible before you do your stitches. So now we're ready to go. I'm going to be working with the 3/8 inch top stitch. It's going to be sewn on the top, and we're going to avoid the zipper stop. Okay, we're ready for the last step, which is a top stitch. My zipper stop is here. I'm going to mark it just a little bit here. If you are working at home, you might want to put a pin in there, something to indicate that you don't want to be sewing over that zipper stop. You want to be above that. We're only going to top stitch on one side. We're going to come down and then we're going to come over. On a lap zipper, there's no stitches on the other side. That's why it's called lapped, because this side is lapping over this side. Okay, for the last step of the lap zipper, I changed my foot. You have a left and a right half foot. For the last step, I'm going to be using the left side. You want the opening of the foot to be closest to your zipper teeth. I'm going to place this so I have notch on top of notch. And the width of my zipper head is going to determine the width of this top stitch. You want to make sure that your work doesn't move and that you get something like this where you can see the stitching, or something even worse where you start to see the zipper exposed. The whole idea of this zipper is that one side laps over the other and that it's hidden. So once you figure the relationship at the top between the needle and the fold, you're just going to maintain that all the way down. Again, our zipper stop is here. I have this marked. You can put either a straight pin or some kind of indication. You don't want to sew over the stop because it's going to break the needle. So you want to get close. And you can use your hand wheel.
Once you get close, the needle is down.
You're going to pivot your work, and we are going to stitch just to the edge here where the fold is. and we're going to back stitch. We don't want to go over to the other side, so you want to be really careful in this area. It's a little bit tight. And then we're going to remove our work. And you press everything into place, and this is what it looks like when it's done. So here's your zipper, and it just laps closed. So at the top we would be joining this with either a facing or a waistband, but something else would be sewing to this top edge. And that's a lap zipper.